Hello Year 11s, this is Ketish here. In this video I'm going to go through the AQA Combined Science GCSE Chemistry paper. It's the Specimen paper from 2018. This is paper 1 and it's the higher tier, and this paper has 70 marks available. And the topics that are tested in this paper are these 5 topics, which is atomic structure and the periodic table, which is topic 1. Bonding structure and the properties of matter, which is in topic 2. Quantitative chemistry, chemical changes and energy changes, which is the final topic. So let's have a look at question number 1. Question 1 is on bonding structure and the properties of matter. This question is about calcium. What type of compound is calcium oxide? Now, calcium oxide, the calcium is a metal and the non-metal, so it forms a base. So let's mark that. So that is a base. Remember, if it's an acid, it should have H plus ions. A base can be a metal oxide or it can have OH minus ions as well. Carbonate will have CO3 2 minus ions. A salt is usually a metal plus a non-metal like sodium chloride. So it's worthwhile to revise what a base is and write the definition for base as notes. So let me give you some notes here. Oh, maybe a little bit. There you go. Right. So by definition, a base is a substance that can react with acids and neutralize them. Bases are usually metal oxides, which is calcium oxide here, such as copper oxide, calcium oxide. It can be metal hydroxides, such as sodium hydroxide, or metal carbonates as well, such as calcium carbonate. Here you need to only tick one box. So calcium oxide is the base, it's not a carbonate. Now what you need to remember is that many bases are insoluble. They do not dissolve in water. However, if a base does dissolve in water, we can call it also an alkali, right, which is going to be an OH minus ion. Question 1.2. Ionic compounds such as calcium oxide have high melting points. Complete the sentence, use the words from the box. Calcium oxide has a giant ionic lattice in which there are strong electrostatic forces of attraction in all directions. So, forces of attraction in all directions. So, to give a quick description of what this giant lattice structure means, you should be able to recognize this giant lattice structure for ionic compounds. Right, so an ionic compound like sodium chloride, any of the salt, will actually look like this with positive and negative ions surrounded by each other. And sodium chloride, here's a structure of sodium chloride showing a giant lattice structure. It is also worthwhile to revise giant covalent structures like in diamond and in what's the other one? Graphite. Question 1.3. Figure 1 shows the electronic structure of an oxygen atom and a calcium atom. We've got oxygen atom here and calcium atom, showing the electron configuration. You can see that the electron configuration of oxygen, if I was to write it here, it's 2 electrons in the first shell and 4 electrons in the, now 6 electrons. 4. That. There you go. And change the pen. There will be 6 electrons in the outer shell. Calcium has an electron configuration of 2 in the first shell, 8 in the second shell, 8 again in the third shell, and 2 in the last shell. So what calcium wants to do is get rid of these 2 electrons to make a stable electron configuration. So it becomes a noble gas configuration. Oxygen needs 2 more electrons to make that second shell a full shell. So it becomes 2 and 8. So oxygen is actually trying to gain 2 electrons and calcium is trying to lose those 2 electrons. Describe how the calcium atom and the oxygen atom form calcium oxide. Now, to form calcium oxide, they need to first form ions. The way they form ions is by either gaining or losing electrons. So oxygen gains the 2 electrons to become O2 minus, because it's gaining 2 electrons. Calcium loses 2 electrons to become 2A, calcium Ca2 plus. So if I put that in square brackets, let me get rid of that. It's not looking good. So calcium will form Ca in square brackets 2 plus, oxygen in square brackets forms 2 minus ions. So how do we actually write the answer? You should give the charge on each ion form. So using the information that I've discussed, right, this is how you would write the answer. Calcium loses 2 electrons from its outer shell, while oxygen gains 2 electrons to its outer shell, forming ions. 2 electrons are transferred from calcium to oxygen. Calcium has a 2 plus charge, and oxide, or the oxygen, has a 2 minus charge. That gives you the 4 marks. Next question. It's question number 2. I will see you in the next video for question number 2.